In this episode, the ROUS channel is back in Florida and heads underwater to do some cavern diving. Ever wonder what's down there in those dark and mysterious places? Well, stick around. If you've been following this channel, you'll remember that we've recently been diving in the Cayman Islands. If you'd like to see those episodes, click that link right up there. But now we're starting a little 2-episode series that covers the video that we just shot in northern Florida. I'll be diving with my buddy Brian, and you'll remember him from our recent episodes in Curacao and Aruba. The two of us will be tackling those popular dive sites, and they're located here in this part of the state. All of these are within an easy drive from the city of Gainesville. Those last 2 dive sites are just down the road at Jenny Springs, and we'll show you that footage in part 2 of this series. But for this episode, we'll be tackling those top 2 venues, and both are deep, spring-fed underwater caverns. Here's a satellite image of Gainesville, and this simulates the pleasant 30-minute drive south to the small town of Williston. Okay, let's head to our first stop, the strange and creepy hole in the ground called the Devil's Den. Over there on the left is our climb down from the surface and then further into the cavern and then down all the way to the water. And there on the right is what this place looks like from above. Geologically speaking, this is considered to be a karst window. In a nutshell, a long time ago, there was a deep underground stream that had a section of its roof collapse and fall inside. That window above is the hole that it left. You'll see huge submerged boulders in a minute, and those are pieces of this fallen roof. And here's the little diagram that shows today's dive environment. We'll descend those stairs to the platform and then explore the debris pile all the way down to the bottom of the cavern. At the bottom, we should run into signs and metal grates that will block off dangerous areas. Okay, we'll pick this up at our descent to the cavern's bottom. As I understand it, the term Devil's Den goes way back in time. I guess early Florida settlers found this spooky hole in the ground that emitted steam. They called it the Devil's Den. But in reality, it was just warm spring water mixing with cool winter air. But even with this explanation, the name has stuck to this day. With our air running low, Brian and I made the 55-foot ascent from the bottom toward that pretty blue window at the top of the cavern above us. We'd then haul our gear up and out of the cavern and head for the local barbecue joint. Well, it's the following day and there's that satellite map again. We made a similar 30-minute drive south from Gainesville back to Williston. Well, here we are at the Blue Grotto and we've already checked in. Like yesterday's dive venue, this is a professional, well-run facility that's set in a very scenic place. You can see the cavern's entrance pool there on the left with its first-rate platforms and gear assembly areas. On the right is a photo of the first cavern that we'll be entering. And here's a diagram that depicts today's dive environment, and you can see that entrance pool up there at the top. I knew that lower cavern would be dark and deep and confining. Thus, my goal was to avoid that place. So what did we do instead? We got all ambitious and headed straight for it. This section of the cavern was pretty silty at the time, so Brian and I made our descent to the lower cavern through something like an eerie nighttime snowstorm. Okay, I think we'll stop our descent right here. Here's a great feature at the top of the upper cavern. The Blue Grotto has an air bell with viewing windows and breathable air pumped from the surface. Divers can enter the bell and remove their regulators and have a nice chat. I would have filmed this, but it was crowded in there and my camera rig was too big to fit inside with us. But it was a fun, unusual experience. And just like that, it was time to surface and end our dive in the Blue Grotto. These Williston dives were a great experience, and both of these dive centers are very well run. If you're a diver or want to become a diver, consider taking a break from the usual scene and spend some time in these fascinating freshwater caverns. So what's up next? In part 2 of this series, we'll be heading to the world-famous cave complex of Jenny Springs. Join us again to see the remarkable sights that we find in those famous springs and caverns. And as always, if you like this type of content, please consider subscribing to our channel. We appreciate you spending time with us and love getting your comments. We'll see you next time from Florida's Jenny Springs and can't wait to share the experience with you. See you soon.